special football shows each Monday of the high school season from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Catch recaps of all the games, interviews with local players and coaches, and hear if your team is playing in the game of the week. For the best high school football coverage, turn to Sports on Tap. Every Monday from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network.
And welcome to Sports on Tap. We're part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network, live from Studio J. It's our Ohio high school football coverage. I'm Rob Trump. We have Ed Dick, Sean Duffy, and Josh Jeffy. And what a week for football, week 4 in the books. And, again, some really exciting games and some teams that really took it seriously, didn't mess around. And got some big wins, some high-scoring games. And
some close games.
Yeah, some really close games. We're going to talk about our game of the week later in the show, which was Copley at Barberton.
Great game.
And, man, this game went back and forth.
We sure know how to pick them.
Yep.
I'll tell you, we really do.
Yeah, we're pros at that.
Oh.
Yeah, hey, nice of you to show up.
I'll tell you what, this guy, he could just walk in whenever he wants, and he doesn't skip a beat, really.
Nah,
he's here.
Ed Dick is strictly business, man. He's coming looking fly for a white guy.
I'll tell you, he sure is, man. All right, well, it was a great week for high school football, week 4 in the books. We're going to head over to the Greater Cleveland Conference. Josh Jeffy, tell us, how were your games this week, sir?
Well, I'd have to say a little bit not as competitive as probably some would like, at least for a couple of the games. Good thing about the GCC is that you have games spread all over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're going to start with Thursday, pitted Euclid against Mentor, and Euclid comes out with a 47-37 victory over the Mentor Cardinals. Euclid improves to 3-1 on the season. Obviously, this being the first week of conference play, they're 1-0 in the conference. Mentor drops to 1-3. That is their first 3-game losing streak since 2009 for the Cardinals. So kind of a down time for them. But as far as superstars go for Euclid in this game, led by quarterback Noah Mitchell, 20 of 33 passing for 301 yards and 4 touchdowns. Most of his yards, at least half of them, went to Ramon Collins, the wide receiver. He had 7 catches for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 45-yard touchdown score in the second quarter. And for Euclid, running backs Daquan Pruitt and Reggie Wilkerson combined for 37 carries, 184 yards. For the Cardinals on the offensive end, quarterback Tadas Tanarunas, 17 of 33 for 262 yards, 4 touchdowns. Those are more numbers we're used to seeing from him. He's kind of had a slow start this season, and he's somewhat picking him up. Just not enough to get Mentor over the top. And wide receiving Stephen Baird, TDs of 34, 21, and 7 yards in this game. Again, this is Mentor's, first 3-game losing streak since 2009. Next up in the GCC for the Cardinals, they will host Shaker Heights. Euclid will travel to Solon in a big matchup there. And, guys, real quick on Mentor. They've had a well-documented, very tough first 3 games, non-conference. Getting into the conference, you'd figure they kind of get back on their winning ways. Euclid came out and really played tough, and drops to Mentor 1-3 on the season. Is that surprising?
To me, it's a little surprising. I mean, when you look at who Mentor has played so far, I'm not surprised they're 0-2. They played Ignatius. They played St. Xavier, I believe. And then a tough Euclid team, and I think that shows you where Euclid is this year. They're playing some really good football. I mean, defensively playing really well, but their offense is not struggling either. They're putting it together and playing really well. And I think that's the difference. Mentor really has some tough games ahead. They're going to win some games, but they're going to have to almost win out now, I think, to get back in the thick of things.
This is, I mean, if I'm a fan, if I'm a Mentor coach, I'm concerned. I mean, you have 3 losses on the year, and you're going into conference play, and there's no guarantee there. And on top of that, you had a very winnable game against Euclid. You had you could have won that game.
You could have won St. X too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's great that they were close in all these games, but at the end of the day, you have to win. And, for the longest time, Menor has been a team that wins these games, that has been a team that's consistently in the top 25, consistently one of the leaders in the pack, running away and hiding with the division, midway through the season. And now they have a little bit of a challenge. And again, hopefully they can turn it around. But it's just if I'm a fan of Menor, I'm a little concerned with 3 losses on the season, and we're only beginning conference play.
Well, it doesn't look. You look at their next 3 games; they're playing against teams that have a combined 2 losses. They are 10-2 for the next 3 opponents, one of which is Solon, and that's always a good matchup between those 2 schools. You talk about Euclid; they always have. Since Coach Rotsky's joined the Panthers, they've been very competitive, and that's a trademark of his teams. When he was at Maple Heights, when he was at Cleveland Heights, those guys compete, and there's no difference there with a good Euclid squad. And Euclid they are defending co-champions of the conference, so you're looking at a pretty good team there.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next game, pitted Solon against Brunswick. Solon with a 53-21 victory over the Blue Devils. Solon improves to 3-1 on the season, 1-0 in conference play. Brunswick drops to 1-3 on the season, 0-1 in conference play. This was pretty much Solon's game from the very beginning. Quarterback Joe Bubanix for Solon only passed 9 of 12 for 202 yards and 3 touchdowns. Running back Thomas Wilkes added 128 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns. Now Solon, and this is just in the first half, had 285 yards of offense and led 40-7 at the half. Some bright spots for the Blue Devils. Cole Samiska, if I said his name right, 3 of 7 for 77 yards passing. He added those 7 carries for 75 yards. Jacob Martin, 14 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. And Brunswick had a nice little drive during the fourth quarter towards the end of the game. It was capped off by a 30-yard touchdown run by Jake Vadini.
He broke like 6 tackles on that run too.
Yeah. So not the best of games for the Blue Devils, but some bright spots there late in the game as, once again, they fall 53-21 to a very tough Solon team. Solon will host Euclid next week, and then Brunswick will travel to Elyria. Ed, you were there firsthand. Some of your observations don't really want to talk about. I get it. Understand.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't there. That's right. You had wedding festivity weekend, right?
Yes, I did.
I followed.
Now we know why they lost.
I think he's a wedding crasher.
No, listen, Brunswick fans. Ed Dick's got to be at the game. That's what happens.
That's it.
When he's not there, it just falls off the tracks.
We're 1-3.
Oh, I'm trying to build you up, Ed.
Hey man, I'll tear myself down before anyone else builds me up. I'm good. Yeah, it was a rough one for the Blue Devils. I watched the tape yesterday, and
Solon, take nothing away from that.
Solon is good.
Yeah, Solon is good.
Solon is one of the best
and,
teams
and to be
in
honest
the
with
area.
you, we really haven't talked about it. In fact, we didn't mention it at all. But some of the off-the-field extracurricular activities going on with the Blue Devil football program, not the most positive of news stories. We won't really get into it, but I think Coach Beal in his article against the Gazette, his article in the Gazette when he was talking to them, maybe saying a little bit that some of the off-the-field distractions is kind of taking its toll on this Blue Devils team, but they got plenty of time to turn it around. Let's see what they could do next week when they travel to Elyria. We then move on to the final Friday game of the week. Pitted the offensive juggernaut known as the Medina Bees with a 52-14 victory over Elyria. Medina improves to 4-0 on the season. Elyria drops to 2-2. Medina was once again led by running back Jimmy Daw. 19 carries, 65 yards, 6 touchdowns. 3 receptions. He also added 3 receptions for 85 yards. He set a school record for rushing TDs in his career with 45. Also for Medina, quarterback John Curtis, 352 yards passing with a touchdown. That also is a school record. In this game, Medina, we're talking about their high, potent offense, 536 total yards in this game. Elyria just could not match up. On the Elyria side, though, running back Chris Atkinson returned from injury to add 12 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. 5'4" running back Tyree Stevens added a 2-yard touchdown run. And then also 5 Elyria turnovers during this game led to 14 of the Medina points. Next up, Medina will travel to Strongsville. And as we mentioned before, Elyria will host Brunswick. Guys, the Medina Bees, we got to start seeing they could be for real this year. Their offense is just unbelievable. Jimmy Daw already this year in 4 games has over 100 points.
That's crazy.
It's just a unique and awesome sight to see the Medina Bees as their offense continues their ways. Finally, the last game in the GCC of the week pitted the Strongsville Mustangs traveling to Shaker Heights. Shaker Heights with a GCC victory. They improved to 3-1 with a 30-26 victory over the Mustangs. Strongsville drops to 1-3. For Shaker, quarterback Jameer Demukes overcame 4 interceptions but finished with 297 yards and 3 touchdowns. The game, he also had the game-winning TD run with 48 seconds left. Wide receiver McCall Hills had 7 receptions for 166 yards and a touchdown. And Shaker was actually down 10 with 6 minutes left in this game. They came back and won the game. Strongsville had 2 touchdowns late in this game called back due to penalties. Running back for Strongsville, Taylor Griffin, added 10 carries for 109 yards. The game did end on a Johnny Major interception. Again, Strongsville drops to 1-3. They will host Medina next week, and Shaker will travel to Menor to see if they can continue their ways. Very good. I'm very happy for Shaker Heights. Didn't get a conference win last year. The first game this year in the conference, they get the victory. So that's a really good program builder, in my opinion. And, let's see how they'll do against Menor. Menor, as we all discussed earlier, a little down, but did have some winnable games there. So they're looking to get back on track. Shaker Heights is looking to continue their ways coming up this week. Now, I have to give my MVP to Jimmy Daw of Medina. If you score 6 touchdowns, you got to be MVP. He had 150 total yards. And I'm actually going my Week 5 spotlight game in the GCC is going to be Euclid at Solon. I really thought about Shaker Heights at Menor because I wanted to see how Shaker Heights would go again into their second game. I wanted to see how Menor can see if they can bounce back. But I'm going with a really good – this is going to be a really good game, Euclid at Solon.
Yeah, that's a great choice.
Thanks.
I agree.
Thanks, Sean.
That's going to be a great game. You know, one thing I'm interested in, Medina only capitalized on Elyria turnovers. They had 5 turnovers and only scored 14 points.
Yeah. Well, I mean they really didn't.
They didn't need it, but, that's unbelievable. I would think that most of the 52 points came off those turnovers, but
it's all pretty much all Jimmy Daw and
a testament to that offense, though.
John Curtis. Yeah, exactly.
Give credit to that Medina team. It's unbelievable.
They're really impressive.
And Shaker Heights winning in conference, so congratulations to them. They're really having a great year.
3-1.
A lot of teams in the GCC doing very well this year. All right, we'll step away, take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get into the Southwestern Conference Week 4, and it was a good one all around. Some big games coming up in the Southwestern Conference. We're Sports on Tap, are the NEO Sports Insiders. It's our Ohio High School football coverage. We're coming right back.